Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hello everyone, welcome! I'm here for Spellbinders today. I'm going to be creating some really fun card projects using their June card kit of the month for 2020. This one is called Life is a Party. Let's start out by taking a look at what's inside the kit this month. I get so excited when they come in the mail, and I try not to open it until I can sit down and film my video, but this time I did peek just a little bit. Let's start out with the contents page. This tells you everything that comes inside the kit and gives you some fun inspiration. On the flip side, it shows you how to use the dies that are included in this kit. And here they are. I will open them up in just a minute and show you a closer look at those. You always get a stamp set. You get a lot of party sentiments in the stamp set, as well as a rectangle that you can stamp out your own invitations. Next up is a pack of chipboard stickers, and you get 2 in this pack. I just didn't flip it over, but you'll see them here in just a minute. Here are the foam squares and adhesive tape. You get that in every kit. I just love it. You get a pack of white sequins. They're really pretty. They're like iridescent. And then their paper pad. This is one of my favorite things out of the kit. You always get so many cute designs. I'm going to flip through these for you so that you can see what's inside. A lot of them have gold detailing on them. The paper is lightweight and great for layering. I used a lot of the pattern paper on these cards, and in a lot of cases, more than one on each card. And you get 2 of each pattern. So you could really make up 2 of each design if you wanted to. I really love the pattern paper this time because they're so bright and cheerful. Perfect for your summer card crafting. I really love this colorful striped one here. The pattern paper always coordinates really well with the die cut shapes. And I'll give you a closer look at these 2 in just a minute. This time you get some fun alphabet stickers, double-sided. And you always get 10 card bases and 10 envelopes. I love this because I don't have to stop and make my own card bases. And now let's look at the cardstock that came in the kit this time. You always get lots. It's a nice smooth paper. They always include a sheet of metallic paper, and this time it's gold. These are all bright summery colors as well. It's just a great color palette. Now I'm going to open up the die cut shapes. I always put them back in the empty box. And I'm going to quickly pull these out and give you a peek at these. I do speed it up, otherwise we would be here all day. I like to put my sentiments in one corner. I also separate out my critters and my flowers and then just inanimate objects. I really like using this box to contain them. It just helps me stay organized and helps me to keep my desk clean. The sentiments are really fun this time, and they included some really cute cacti shapes. They didn't have a lot of flowers, but I think that's because the cutting dies are all floral shapes. I had a lot of fun with these, and I used them a lot on these different cards I'm going to create today. They are layering dies, and there's so much you can do with them. You get 15 dies in this set. And I'm actually going to use these on my very first card. I went ahead and cut out a lot of flowers and leaves with these dies, all with the cardstock that came in this kit. So let's get started with our very first card. I'm using the adhesive tape to put my different pattern paper layers together onto the card base. And I like to use a craft pick. It really helps to pull up the release paper. And as I mentioned before, I do end up using a lot of pattern paper. So here is my first layer. I love this yellow pattern paper. It's so bright and fun. And then my second layer is going to be this pretty orange paper. They both have these little lines on them. This is a pretty easy card to put together. What takes the most time is cutting out all of the flowers. But once you got that done, you just have fun arranging them on your card. I'm using little teeny tiny dots of glue to adhere these flowers together. And I love this yellow cardstock with the navy behind it. The leaf die was really fun and unique because it cuts out the veins to the leaf, and then you can cut out the leaf shape itself. Some of these flowers I'm going to glue down flat onto my card, and some I'm going to use the foam adhesive to pop it up. I also really like this fern cutting die, and I cut it out with some navy blue cardstock as well as some of the metallic gold. And it was just fun moving these pieces around and putting together a fun little floral arrangement. Once all of my flowers are in place, I'm going to use one of the die cut shapes for my sentiment. It's really cute. It says "Celebrate Life." Just trying to decide where I want to put that. And then I decide to put some of the foam tape behind it. I'm just using the negative space to do this. I use up every little piece of the foam tape. It's great stuff. And it's surprising how much use you can get out of this little square of foam tape, because I pull out the little squares inside it, and then I use the negative space and just chop that up as I need it. It lasts a long time. I'm going to pull off the release paper and pop this into place. I liked the look of it, kind of close to my flowers. And next I'm going to pull out some of the white sequins and put a few of those around my card front. The sequins are very subtle looking this time, but I really liked the effect. And here is my finished card. I always like to decorate the insides. It just adds another touch of fun to our cards. And another little surprise for the recipient. On card number 2, I wanted to create a beautiful black and white floral card. And I was just going to keep it to those 2 colors, but then I started adding color to it using the cardstock. But I'm going to cut down this black piece of pattern paper, and I'm just going to cut it into a diagonal strip. I was just using a white colored pencil to mark off the places where I wanted to cut this down. And once I make my first cut here, I'm going to flip it around and use the line of the first cut so that my second cut is perfectly parallel to it. I'll add this directly onto my white card base using some adhesive tape. And I like their white card bases because they have a bit of a texture to them. They're really pretty. I'm just lining up the corners. I went ahead and die cut all my flowers again. My main flower is this beautiful white one. And I'm just going to adhere them down flat as well. And on the veins of this leaf, I used white cardstock. I just think it looks so pretty on the yellow. And then I used some hot pink cardstock to cut out this pretty fern. I'm just trying to tuck these behind my flower. And then for the center of my flower, I cut out a little yellow dot, as you see there on the right. And I'll just pop that inside my white flower. And it goes on a little wonky. I didn't align it perfectly, but I think it looks really cute. The sentiment comes from a chipboard sticker. And I like to put a little bit of adhesive behind these. It says "Best Time Ever," and it's just this little rectangle sentiment. It's so cute. So just to ensure that they stay put, I like to add a little bit of liquid adhesive. And this is where I decided to add a little bit more color to my card. I cut out a strip of pink, and I'm adhering that down above the black pattern paper. And then I also have a little strip of yellow, and I'll adhere that at the bottom. I think that just adds to the card, just a little more color. It was pretty. And then I can just flip this over and cut off the excess. And I'm always too impatient because sometimes my paper isn't completely dry yet, and it'll slip out of place. But it worked out this time, and I'm going to open up my card base just so I can see what I'm trimming off more clearly. And here is a close-up look at my completed card. I used more pieces of leftover pattern paper and a sentiment that says "Together Time." I really love this blue shade of pattern paper, so I'm going to use that on my next card. And I trimmed it down so that it is a little bit smaller than my white card base. This is a darling die cut shape. It's a little fringe, and I'm going to glue that down flat at the top of my card. I'll put another die cut shape above this. It kind of reminded me of a little sun. So I'll add that at the corner, and then I'm just going to trim off the overhang. It's just so much fun sorting through these die cut shapes and choosing different ones to put on your card front. And if you don't feel like coloring or using any of your art mediums, then these are just perfect. So I put some foam adhesive behind my two llamas, and I like to get a good coverage. That way, if I send it through the mail, the pieces aren't going to sag. I'm using another chipboard sticker for my sentiment, and this just says together. It's going to be the ground for one of my llamas to stand on. And then the llama on the right, I'm just going to have him standing on the bottom of the card. These llamas are so adorable. And now I can start peeling off the release paper and putting them in place. And I like the dimension that this foam tape gives. Just makes the cards that much cuter. There we go, and we'll have them facing each other. Every month, Spellbinders always has a few add-ons that you can purchase separately from the kit. So if you don't subscribe to the card kit, you can still buy some elements from the kit separately. And I'll have all of the links to those listed below and over at my blog. I'm going to add a few sequins around this card, and I love how it looks off of this blue paper. Just really pops. And that's all there is to this card. Really fast, fun card to create. Here's a close-up look and a peek at the inside. I love that sentiment that says, "Crazy friends, amazing memories." On card number 4, I'm using a Spellbinders die to cut out the center of this beautiful piece of gold and pink pattern paper. The die cut it a little bit smaller than my card base, but I wanted to cut it out of the center so that the pattern was symmetrical. And I'm going to attach it to my card base. This card is one of my favorites. I'm using a lot more of the die cut shapes for this. I popped the center piece out of this little frame, and I'm going to glue on another die cut shape. And this says, "The fun doesn't start until you walk in." I'm going to pop this up with some foam pieces from my stash. And again, I like a full coverage of the foam on the back. And now I'm going to start gluing down the other little elements to this card, this piece of cake and the guitar. They'll both go down flat. And then the little drink, I'm going to put some foam behind that and put that in the front. I didn't adhere down my frame yet because I want to put the little circles at the top left. They look like little fireworks. They're just so cute. So I will adhere my fireworks down next. And this one I'm going to adhere down flat. The only one I'm going to pop up is the pink one. I want all three of them to fit on the card. I don't want to cut off any of the overhang. I want them to remain round. And now I can peel off the release paper of my third one and pop that into place. I wished I had pulled the blue one down just a little bit, but that's all right. Still looks cute. Now for the sentiment. I'm adding a few sequins on my panel. And again, these are just so subtle and cute. I really liked these white sequins. And that completes my card. On the inside, I found another fun sentiment. It says, "Let's get together," and then I used a scrap of pattern paper. My next card involves some very bright papers. I'm using this brilliant blue and hot pink together. This is the card where I'm going to use all of the cute cactus images on. But first, let's put this on our card base. By the time I finish my 10 cards, I still have about a third of the roll of this tape adhesive left, and I have so many rolls in my drawer. It just lasts me forever. Okay, next I have a strip of yellow cardstock that I'm going to put at the bottom of this card. This is going to ground the little cacti, and it'll also serve to break up the pink a little bit. I'm going to use every single cactus image. Some I'm going to adhere down flat onto the card, and some I'm going to pop up with some foam tape. There are just 3 different cacti, and I'm trying to group them so that they don't look like they're the same. I hate saying cacti. I wish I could just say cactuses. I don't know. The word cactuses just sounds better to me for some reason. But anyway, back to the card. So I'm trying to group them so they look different. I was thinking about coloring in their pots with some colored pencils to add some variation, but I just left them as is. I'll put my last little cactus in front. And then I'm going to add another chipboard sticker for my sentiment. And this says, "Friends Unite." And I thought it just went really well with the colors of this card. It's not going to be perfectly centered, but I just wanted it kind of close to the cacti. For last touch, I'm adding some Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen over the cacti. And that's all there is to this card. But I just love the bright colors of it. Here's a close-up look. And on the inside, I used a big sentiment that says "Gather Together," and my last little cactus. And now on to card number 6. I already added a piece of pattern paper onto my card base. I'm adding a diagonal piece of yellow cardstock on top of that. And then I do like to cover my seams, so I'm gluing down a piece of the metallic cardstock. I put a little bit too much glue on this so it seeps through the edges. I can just wipe that away. The metallic paper does take a little more time to dry, and then I can cut off the excess. I found these 3 little circles in the die cut shapes, and I'm going to attach them across my metallic stripe of paper. I moved these around a lot before I decided on the placement, but I kind of liked them all in a row. I'm adhering all of them down onto the card with some foam adhesive to give a little bit of dimension. This card's a little unusual, but I had so much fun playing with all of the fun elements in this kit. The sentiment is a chipboard sticker, and a little negative space pops out in the A, and it says "Awesome," and that's all I add to this card. But it's just a bright, fun card. And here is a close-up look at it. I like the strip of metallic paper. It just adds some sparkle to the card. I had to absolutely use this darling piece of watermelon pattern paper, and I'm using a Spellbinders die to cut out a circle. I'm also going to use a smaller circle die to cut out a circle in my pink cardstock. I'm going to create a fun frame for the watermelon die cut shapes. And I just want to have a ring of the pink showing through the watermelon pattern paper. So I'll take that over to my die cut machine and cut that out. I keep my die cut machine on a bookshelf behind my desk. I don't have a lot of space on my desk, otherwise I'd keep it there next to me. But look how cute these 2 pieces look layered up together. Love it. I'm going to adhere them to my card base. Make sure it opens the right way. And then I'm just pressing the corner down and meeting the corners up before I press it into place. And the same for the pattern paper. That pattern paper is just charming. I love it. One watermelon is going to be adhered down flat. And then the other one, I'm going to pop it up with some more foam adhesive. So cute. I love watermelon cards for summer. I'm adding a green stripe of paper at the bottom. I wanted to add my sentiment down here, but it was just getting lost in this pattern. So the green strip of paper is going to help the sentiment pop out a little bit more. And my sentiment is a pennant, and it said, "Life is a picnic." I'm adding some foam tape behind this as well. I'm just trying to cut it down so that I get enough foam tape on it. It was kind of hard to fit it behind this narrow triangle. But now I can peel off the release paper and attach that to the card. I'm going to pull out a few more chipboard stickers. Thought it needed just a little something more. And I found this cute gold foiled heart, and I'm going to put it right up above the watermelon. And I also added a little green heart on this green stripe of paper, and I set it in place, and it stuck pretty good. I didn't add any adhesive behind that, so maybe the adhesive isn't necessary after all behind these chipboard stickers. And here's a peek at the inside. I had so much fun creating the frame on the watermelon card that I'm going to do it one more time with my next card. This is going to be a masculine card, and I'm cutting out a rectangle in this cute barbecue pattern paper. I want a little frame around my pattern paper, so I'm using a piece of blue cardstock, and I used the same die to cut this out. I die cut it at the edge of this piece of cardstock. Then I'm going to use my paper trimmer just to trim out my frame. The pattern paper is cute, but it is kind of busy, so I just needed something to put around the window. I'm using another piece of pattern paper that you see there, the faux wood. I'm using this as the background behind my window. I'll attach that to my card base first. And then I'm going to attach the barbecue pattern paper next. And I thought it would have looked really cute popped up with some foam tape, but I didn't think of that at the time. I pulled out a bunch of die-cut shapes that kind of went along with the barbecue pattern paper. And some I'm going to pop up with foam tape, and some I'm going to adhere down flat. But I'm just kind of arranging them first and getting an idea of where I want to put everything. I'm using some fabulous foam tape that I have in my stash. These are from Adhesives, and they come in these narrow strips. And they were the perfect size to put on the legs of this grill. And that will give me some nice even dimension behind this little grill. I'm going to start adhering everything down now in this little window. I'll add the pieces that I'm adhering down flat first. And these are all just fun, different sizes. I love that big cheeseburger. And then next I'll add the grill. I'm just creating a fun collage of these different die-cut shapes. Next is the little drink, and I added some foam tape behind that. And then the sausage, or the brat, or whatever that is. I glued that down flat to the grill and added just a little piece of foam adhesive on the part that's not on the grill, if that makes sense, just so it was nice and even. The sentiment says chillin' and grillin', and on the inside I added barbecue master and another little hot dog. On card number 9, I'm going to use this darling pattern paper, the colorful stripes. I already adhered it to my card base, and I'm going to put a little strip of grass at the bottom. I love these little house die-cut shapes. They are going to be the star of the show, but first I'll put on this little banner, and I popped up each piece with some foam tape. I popped it into my mini MISTI so that I could stamp up the sentiment that says, "Come on over." And I'll stamp this out with some dark black ink. I love this VersaFine Clair ink. And it stamps just beautifully on this pattern paper. The houses I'm going to adhere down flat, and I'm just putting them on either side of the sentiment. I used the cutting dies to die cut some cute flowers to go around these houses. These little flowers make a huge difference on this card, I think. They're just a nice touch. And I'm just kind of putting them randomly around the houses. I'm also going to use a chipboard sticker, and this says Good Company. I'm going to put glue on it just in case. And that will finish up card number 9. The gold detailing on the houses really shows up when I hold it here. So much fun. Here's a look at the inside. I used a floral die-cut shape and a leftover scrap of the pattern paper. Well, we're up to card number 10 now, and I haven't used up even half of all of the supplies that the kit came with. On this card, I'm going to use this cute dotted pattern paper, and it has some fun metallic detailing as well. I'm going to adhere down a leftover piece of pattern paper. It's an orange piece that I used on my first card. I love it when I can use up all of my scraps. And I'm just going to cover the bottom of this other pattern paper. I'm also going to glue on a gold strip of paper. This is going to be another floral card using the cutting dies. I had a lot of fun with these flower dies. I'll trim off the overhang. I'm going to glue down a piece of the light pink cardstock onto my navy cardstock. Once I attach them, you can hardly see the navy cardstock behind it. So I'm going to pull out a piece of cardstock so that it shows up better. I really love the navy frame on this. And I'm just going to use some more glue to attach this onto my card base. There's lots of layers on this card, and everything's going down flat. Now I can attach my piece of pattern paper. And now for the really fun part. I'm creating another floral arrangement on this card. I really love this die cut here, and it comes with these little berries that you can attach to the ends. And there's 2 layers to the berries even. It's so cute. Again, some of the flowers are going to be adhered flat, and some I'm popping up with some foam adhesive. And this time I cut out the veins in these leaves, so it has an open space in the middle, and I thought that was kind of cute. I'm putting down an odd number of flowers, and next I can add the greenery around them. Those little leaves are just so adorable. They will be adhered down flat. I was going to add little centers to my flowers, and you see them on the right, but I just loved seeing the navy cardstock in the middle of these flowers. So I just left it blank. I'll glue my last leaf in place, and then I can adhere my berries. This piece will make it a little less uniform, which is nice. I'll just adhere that at the top, right over one of the leaves. I think that looks so cute. The last thing I'm going to do is to stamp out my sentiment, and I put this in my mini MISTI for this. I'm using the sentiment that says hooray, and I wanted to stamp it up with navy ink, and this is the closest thing I had to navy ink in my stash. So I just stamped it a couple of times to make it good and dark. I'll add a few of the soft white sequins around my card. And then for another added touch of sparkle, I'm going to pull out the Spectra Noir glitter pen. And I put it rather thickly on these flowers. It kind of blobbed out on my first flower, and I tried sopping some of it up, but it just wasn't budging. It still looks pretty, but it's just extra sparkly. And here is a close-up. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you were inspired. I hope you're all taking care and having fun crafting. I'll have the link to this kit and all of the extras listed below and over at my blog. I also have pictures of all of my cards at my blog. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!